Good evening, everybody. It's 8 o'clock Wednesday night, and I just made a new friend. Uh, his name is Josh Semke, Semke, and I'm sure all of you will become friends with him shortly because he's a very smart guy. Uh, he lives in Florida, I believe. But anyway, he was asking me about, I wanted to explain to him rare earths, and I'm sure I've explained this before, but I can't find my video where I did, so I'm going to do a quick rundown on, really on China and how China presents a ever-growing threat to our economy. Uh, First, let's start with the rare earths. The rare earths are called rare earths because they're on the bottom of the chart there in purple. Uh, it's the outer electron that determine whether it's a rare earth or not. The outer electron ring and what the rings are capable of doing. So they're called rare earths for that reason and where they appear. They're not necessarily rare, but some of them are extremely rare. But the connotation has to do with their position on the periodic chart. Now, the Chinese presently can control 97% of all the rare earths in the world, and rare earths are used in every technological device we have. Now, what happened was the Chinese realized this, and the Chinese are very smart, and they have 5-year plans and 10-year plans and 25-year plans, and none of them are to our advantage. I can guarantee you that. But we don't. We have what's happening the next quarter because we got to file return to your shareholders on the quarter, and so you come up with lies and lies upon lies to keep the shareholders happy, and no real destination uh, for the economy, at least not the way things are going in this country. But anyway, in the late 90s and at turn of the century, around 2000, the Chinese, well, they have certain rare earths are only found in China, and certain other ones are only found in Mongolia. So they have access to some that no one else does. But there are rare earths located around the world. And what happened is the Chinese flooded the market with rare earths below what it cost them to mine them, and they put most of the rare earth companies right out of business, the mining companies, because they couldn't afford to stay in business, obviously, because it cost them more to mine the stuff than they were selling it for. So then the Chinese went around and purchased these things at pennies on the dollar, these companies that failed. And so they now control 97% of the rare earths. Now, if you want the computer screen, the microphones, the any video thing you have, any cameras you have, any kind of telephone, cell phone, uh, you name it, it requires rare earths. Even the gears in wind turbines require rare earths, and the Chinese control them. Now, often they include lithium, but lithium isn't a true rare earth, but they include it. And over 50% of the lithium comes from Chile and Peru, and of course, the rights to mine that are owned by China. Now, all the money we're sending to China, the Chinese are going around and buying up the rights to minerals all over the world. They're even in Afghanistan and building rail systems and building pipelines while we protect them. They're building it with money, and we're spending money to protect them and blood. It's just criminal what we've allowed to happen. So let's get back to the rare earths. So what the Chinese are doing is, if you want to build a chip, last year they cut their exports of rare earths down by 40%. Now Japan has no rare earths at all. They are 100% of their economy almost is contingent on the supply of rare earths from China or from mines owned by the Chinese. Last year they seized a ship, a fishing ship in Japanese waters, a Chinese fishing ship, and the Chinese told them that they didn't release the ship within a day, they would cut off all the rare earth supplies to Japan. Can you imagine that? No cars, no computers, no computer screens, no kids games, nothing like that, no technology coming out of Japan. impossible. It was impossible for the Japanese. They released the ship almost as fast as they seized it. So now we're at a terrible spot here, because if you want to build a chip, and say you're Intel, last year the Chinese cut back 40% on their exports of rare earths. This year they cut back another 20%. So that their goal is eventually to cut all the way back until, if you want to make anything in the technological field, you are going to have to go to China and make it. So if you're Intel and you make chips, and the only place that you can get the necessary elements that are required for that chip is China, you're going to have to go to China and make them. So you think we're losing jobs now? Wait a couple of years. Every major, from whether it's solar cells on down, every major industry in green industry and in technological industries require these rare earths. Now what has happened is, there's one sideline. The largest rare earth mine in the world used to be at Mountain Pass in California, and it's owned by a corporation called Molycorp. Now they've just reopened the mine, and they're starting to mine again. And for total transparency, I own some shares of Molycorp, not many, 100 shares, and hopefully that I won't even look at the price, but hopefully in a couple of years the stock will be worth something. But more important than that is the fact that we, again in America, will be producing some rare earths. And that's the most important factor. I'd hate to have to see what would happen if all the chips for our military technology had to be made in China. That would be one hell of a horror show, because they could they could engineer into chips anything they wanted. I mean, it would just be an incredible deal. Now, furthermore, while we're on the subject of China, Chinese are accumulating 15,000 tons, and I've said this to many people, but hopefully of the new people that are coming over, that'll save me the trouble of typing it out. They're accumulating 15,000 tons of gold in order to back a new international currency. Presently, 39% of all the currency in the world are U.S. dollars, because in order to trade anything, you need U.S. dollars. If you live in France, you use francs. If the French want to buy cotton, they want to buy soybeans, they want to buy petroleum, they need U.S. dollars to do it. So there are literally trillions of dollars out there. The same thing for any other country in the world. If they want to buy any international commodity, they have to pay in U.S. dollars. They don't call them petrodollars for nothing. The petrodollar means that that the price of petroleum is based on how many U.S. dollars it takes to buy a barrel. So the Chinese they still hold nearly $1 trillion worth of treasuries. They don't want to totally deflate the U.S. dollar, because they'd be cutting their own throat in the sense that it would cause such inflation the dollar would be worth nothing. But they want to do it slowly. So they're going to introduce a new international currency based on this 15,000 tons of gold. We presently are supposed to hold 8,000 tons in Fort Knox, which is supposed to back our currency. But what will happen is, slowly they'll start trading on the international market, and they'll start with Southeast Asia, and then build from there, and they'll use their currency, not the yen, but a whole new currency for international trade. When that happens, then get out of dollars as fast as you can, because there will be trillions of them out there that won't be the paper worth the paper they're written on. Much, not that they are today. Get out of there, get into silver, perhaps. That's what I'm doing. But the Chinese are as I said, very, very consistent planners, and they plan far down the line. So they will control technology, and they very shortly might control the international currency. So it's just something to think about, and how really I have no present idea how to get out of our economic dilemma we're in right now, because we have no reserves. Where's our reserve of rare earths? All we talk about is our petroleum reserve or petroleum reserve. If all foreign petroleum stopped coming into this country tomorrow, we would find a way technologically within 2 years of bouncing back, whether it would be from environmentally damaging using shale oil or whatever. We'd find a way. But without rare earths, we're not building any technology. We're not going anywhere. We're not doing a damn thing. So we should have had a reserve of rare earths, which we do not. Now, I hope this helps to answer uh, um, Josh Semke's question, and it's a lot easier than me typing it out 3 or 4 times. And anybody, yeah, obviously, that wasn't interested in rare earths didn't have to watch. And any of you people that have a question, and if there's 2 or 3 of you, and if you think I can shed any light on it, I'd be more than happy to do a video on that too. So have a good evening, everybody, and hopefully. Oh, I acquired a bunch of silver today. I won't even get in. Well, I will just briefly. I got like 40 uh, uh, proof mercs, 40 proof uh, a, quarters, about 10 or 12 proof 50-cent pieces, 9 Morgans, a piece dollar, and oh, I can't remember what else. But I got it all for spot today, so I was happy with that too. Well, have a good evening. Take care.